We all enjoy the straightaways when the path is clear and we're picking up speed. But the fact is, if you throw in some sharp curves and some uneven surfaces, there's no telling. We might even end up in a ditch. I would imagine that you're like me. You don't want to end up in a ditch, and you want to make sure that you continue to move forward in life. And one thing I've learned about humanity, this includes me, I would imagine it includes you, we don't always handle transitions very well. In fact, in a recent writing project, I was doing some research on reasons why people leave church. And for me, I'm like, why would anyone leave church? It's the body of Christ. It's the greatest way to live life here on earth in fellowship with other Christians. But the fact is, a lot of people do leave church. And as I began to do the research, as you might imagine, the reasons were various. One thing they all had in common, it came in times of transition in life. For some, it was they graduated high school, went off to college, and they left church far behind. For others, it was when they got married or had that first child. Maybe it's even as grown adults moving to a new city. And I was shocked to see how many times it was when children grew to the age where they started playing youth sports, and that meant Sundays were now given to something other than the Lord. But again, all of those seasons had this in common. It was a time of transition. Well, friends, hear me today. We are entering into an enormous season of transition. We're coming to the end of one year, and we're going to soon be heading into the beginning of another year. Now, it may be premature to say that this is the end of 2020, but I feel pretty confident to say today by saying this is the beginning of the end. We've got the holidays before us. We're going to cross that threshold into a new year. And one of the very best ways to prepare for a new year is to make sure you finish the one you're in a good way, in the right way. And so I want to share a few ways that I believe can help all of us to salvage all the good out of this year we can get, while simultaneously preparing us for all the good that 2021 will hold for us. Today's going to be a part one of a two-part lesson, so I'm going to get right in. How do we prepare for the beginning of the end, so to speak? Well, here's the first thought I want to share with you. Number one, assess your failures. Assess your failures. Now, that may sound like kind of a negative way to begin, but I don't mean it in a negative way at all. I'm not talking about beating yourself up and getting discouraged, but I'm talking about an awareness that there are areas in all of our lives that have a need for improvement. That's just the way it is. You see, successful people understand the value in assessing your failures. Think of your favorite sports star, whoever that might be. You know, when they get into the film room after game night, they don't ask to be shown a highlight reel of all the things they did right. They're going to want to see those areas where they fell short, areas where they can improve. And that's the heart we need to have. That's a great way to finish one year and get ready for the next, is to say, Lord, what are those areas in my life that I need to sharpen up on? You see, if we hope to grow, we need to be honest enough with ourselves to discover and then to define and to then ultimately defeat those areas that would prevent us from forward progress. Like David, it would be good to pray what we read in Psalm 139. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. Socrates is attributed with having said that the unexamined life isn't worth living. So take some time to look in the proverbial mirror and wonder what habit needs to go, what help needs to be gained, what hurt needs to be grieved and dealt with appropriately so that we can move forward. You see, one challenge that impactful lives always invite is evaluation. And evaluation always comes before excellence. And so make sure you begin by assessing your failures. Here's the second thought I'll share with you. After you assess your failures, number two, aim your faith. Now, faith in the life of a believer is to be a present tense possession. Jesus, in fact, said it this way in Mark 11. He said, have faith in God. All right, who have faith? Well, there's an understood you. You have. Have is the verb. Faith in this sense, really, it's dealing with a possession. It's a noun. Faith is something that we have. But I want you to know, faith is far more than something we possess. It can be used as a noun for sure, but faith is to be a verb. It's something we do. It's something by which we live. You need to know that before action, there must be aim. There must be aim. And faith needs to be in the middle of this whole process for people of faith that want to finish one year well and get ready for the year to come. Faith has the ability to look to the future to find our function. You see, the Lord can help us know, what is it that I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who would He have me to become in the course of this season of transition? And the best goals you'll ever make in life are those that are born out of a season of spending time with God and seeking His mind on the matter. One author named John Maxwell has written about what he calls BHAG, B-H-A-G, and that acronym stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. Oh man, life is so fun when you're just filled with dreams and hopes and desires of the future. I'm talking about those things that when you think about them, your heart just begins to beat a little bit more quickly. We all need those. Now let me add a word of warning here. I'm not talking about a prideful ambition, something we're doing to prove something to ourselves or to others. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about those things that come from a heart of faith, a direction that has come from God. My pastor used to say often that in the Christian life, the word ambition is a dirty word. And he would always elaborate and explain that what he meant by that is that we're not to live lives where we're driven by pride, but rather lives that are led by God. And as we seek to live by faith, God will provide that leadership we need so that we can follow His will. My encouragement to you is let faith lead the way. Now next week I'm going to come back and finish this list, but as we come into this season that I'm just calling the beginning of the end, it is a dangerous time in a sense because it's a time of transition, but it's also a time of incredible opportunity. And as we get ready to get geared up for the holidays and all that will bring and what those things that will follow the holidays, let me encourage you, take some time. Just say, Lord, I want to assess my failures. What are some areas in life in which you'd have me to grow? Begin to define those. And then say, Lord, I want to look ahead in faith. What is it that you would have for me in the days to come? And I believe as we do that, God will help us to navigate these transitions in a great way.